This is the Tom Barnard Podcast. Listen live weekday mornings, 8 to 9:30, or anytime you like as a podcast on the Tom Barnard app at tombarnardshow.com or wherever you get your podcasts.
We are back, ladies and gentlemen. It's going to be one of those mornings. It's going to be a little bit tough to do. Looks like 67 people are dead after a Black Hawk helicopter crashed into a flight coming in, I think, from Kansas City, somewhere in the Midwest anyway. Was it Kansas City?
Yeah, from what I saw.
I thought so. Apparently they think a lot of like Olympic athletes were on board that airplane.
Oh, Jesus.
What is it, skaters or?
It looks like U.S. and Russian figure skaters were reportedly on the plane.
Yep, they don't think anybody's going to live through this, unfortunately. It looks like all 67 people are dead, 3 on the helicopter, 64 on the airplane. Any updates on that, Tevin?
They just officially said that it's going from like a rescue to a recovery mission, and there's a lot of photos of people going through like what looks like a river or some body of water. So yeah, it doesn't look great.
Yeah, and it looks like so far 28 bodies have been recovered from the collision, but they're still actively like working on that.
Mm-hmm.
Indeed. Yeah, 67 people total. They say they don't think anybody survived it. Have you ever flown into Reagan National Airport?
I've not.
Honest to God, it's like, why don't we all 5 land at the same time? That airport is incredibly busy. And who knows? Some people are saying, of course, that it was intentional, that the Black Hawk did it on purpose. And, that's all starting already. Can we just be sorry for the 67 dead people? A little sorrow, a little sadness. You know, if you got some faith, have a little prayer in your head or whatever it is. It's just very, very sad.
Yeah, I feel like there's got to be a buffer period of like a proper, respectful time period before everybody starts diving into conspiracy theories. Like, let's have a little respect for the people that are passed.
Do you think social media can avoid that? Because I don't think they can avoid it.
No, I'm sure their mourning period and like buffer period for that was like all of 5 minutes.
I already saw one post that basically what I took away from it is, I don't want to hear about that. I want to talk about me. That's not what they said directly, but that's what was implied, believe me.
Yep.
I don't want to talk about that. I want to talk about me. Oh, okay. Well, good. I'm happy for you. Very, very sad way to start your day. I went out for a couple-mile walk, and nobody knew about it. I just ran into a couple of people, and they had no idea it had happened yet. I just... sitting around after a good night's sleep in a great mood, and this is what pops up when I just turn on the television. It's very, very sad. We'll keep an eye on it throughout the day, of course, but they say there will be no survivors, so I guess we'll have to follow their lead on that one. What caused it? What happened? As I said, some people are speculating that there was some, I don't know what, I don't even want to say it anymore. It's really, really sad. Very, very busy airport. No question about that. But so the helicopter actually hit the airplane. The airplane did not hit the helicopter. Is that correct?
Yeah, I believe that like plane coming in to land and helicopter potentially leaving to go somewhere.
I'm looking at the AP right now. And they have a full like article about this. They have a diagram, like an image, and I'll see if maybe I can get this up on screen on the on the YouTube channel here. But basically they have a diagram showing like, okay, here's the path of the plane and here's the path of the helicopter here as I try to kill some time and pull this up. Here we go. But it looks like that from what they know, everybody was kind of doing what they were supposed to, which here.
Obviously maybe it's like an air traffic controller maybe didn't give the right you go, you stay, circle around, come back type of thing.
Yeah, so this is kind of like bronze gold line here. This is the Army UH-60 helicopter flying south, and at the bottom here is the jet approaching runway 33 to land.
Yep.
So you can see they were in on a straight trajectory and then make their turn, because over here is where they have to actually touch down.
Right.
This kind of zigzag pattern, though, what they say is both the helicopter and the American Airlines flight were in standard patterns, and it's common for both types of aircraft to share airspace in the nation's capital. Okay. So it's not like initially there's any, somebody was doing something.
The helicopter didn't go rogue and is just going for a joyride. Yes. Yeah.
The amazing thing about it is I hopped on social media to, just kind of because I've been awake for a couple hours already, and I went for my walk and all that stuff, and I just, wanted to offer my sadness and condolences to the family of these 67 people who died and all the rest of it, and social media's got to do something. Ladies and gentlemen, you got to grow up eventually. I don't want to hear about how horrible your life is because your shirt didn't fit. Jesus. Why do people love to complain so much and point out how everybody else is horrible except for them? Why is that?
Everybody's got something they feel like they got to something. Everybody's got something they feel is wrong in their life, and they want everybody to know about it.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Well, then get a podcast. Go on the radio. Go on television.
Oh, yes.
There you go, right?
Yeah.
I do think all the news agencies have done a good job coming together on this. There's so far no battles going on or whatever. They all seem to be arm in arm on this one, which is the way it should be. I'm really, really glad to see that is happening. It's just no way to wake up in the morning. I wake up and the first thing I see is 67 people are dead. It's like, damn. Very difficult. Oh, was it like 9 o'clock last night when it happened? Is that about right?
It looked like it was about 8:37, I think was the exact time.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I just can imagine like all the families that are there to pick somebody up from the airport.
Right.
And you're like, what's going on? And this is how you end your day, is think you're going to get to see a loved one and now you never see him again.
Right.
Yeah.
Very difficult.
There's been 2 identified passengers who have been recovered so far. It's the skating pair of Evgenia Shishkova and Vadim Naumov. I probably butchered that, so apologies to both of them. But they won the pairs title, the 1994 World Championships in Chiba, Japan. They competed twice in the Olympics. Their son, Maxim, is a competitive figure skater for the U.S. right now. So condolences to Maxim and the rest of the Naumov, Shishkova families.
Yeah, as I said, if you're going to hop on social media, it's settled way down, thank God. People, although I did hop on just before I came on the air, and there's a woman on there showing off her breasts and saying, what do you think of this? So apparently she doesn't pay attention to the news.
She knew you needed a cheering up this morning.
Yeah, maybe she just wanted to cheer everybody up. I think you're absolutely right about that. And then another guy that was threatening everybody who comes near him. And you're okay, tough guy. Settle down. Calm down. Let me put it this way. If you have to threaten people on social media, you're not a tough guy. Okay? That's all I have to say. So can we just lay back a little bit, ladies and gentlemen? Look, we're going to try to enjoy our day because there's nothing we can do about it. And by enjoying our day, just, I guess, means be grateful for what you have and try to make other people happier today if you possibly can, because it's going to be a bitch, I'll tell you that. Very, very sad. You guys, going through losing a loved one like that is really difficult. Finding out the youngest kid in our family, Troy, was dead was really a bitch. He was not very old, so I don't know what this feels like, but to lose someone that close to you, that young and all the rest of it, because I got to believe those guys in that helicopter were not very old. Would you think? Maybe 40s, 30s, something like that?
I'm just trying to think if they competed in the Olympics twice and they won like a world championship in 1994. And I'm guessing like the premier ice skating age is, or premier figure skating
20-ish.
Yeah, around there. So I bet you're probably spot on there. Maybe they're like late 40s, early 50s.
Not good. So we'll take a break here and come back and we'll try to. That's the whole situation here. You have to do your job and try to do the best you can, and so other people might be able to enjoy their day. I just think it's a good route to take. No question about it. We'll take a break. Be right back in a couple of minutes. Judd Zulgad join us right after this. South Dakota is one of the most business-friendly states in the country, and there's no better place to settle down and take advantage of those incentives than in Sioux Falls. As the state's largest city with a metro population over 290,000, Sioux Falls has low business costs with a high quality of life. It's a great place. There's no state corporate or personal income tax. Yeah, baby. No inheritance tax and no limits to what your business can achieve. South Dakota ranks among the top 10 states in the U.S. for tax friendliness, hardest working, healthcare and doctors, most popular to move to, inbound state for movers. And the spotlight on Sioux Falls would include listed in the 50 best places to live for families. the fastest growing Midwest metro, one of the best places to raise a family, one of the best small cities for Gen Z workers, and national 4th top inbound city people move to. It's a great spot. Spent a lot of time there. You would love Sioux Falls. Well, all of South Dakota. It's a great state. How does South Dakota stack up against other states? Well, they rank second in the nation for the lowest cost of doing business, the most business-friendly state, and the best business tax climate. And as South Dakota's biggest city, Sioux Falls is at the center of these benefits. Visit www.siouxfallsdevelopment.com. For Brad, John Bryant, Michael Bryant. Michael, what's up?
Dealing with another case where a person gave a statement to the adjuster because they thought the person was really friendly.
Is that a good idea?
Well, the problem is they know the law when they call you up. And while you're trying to be fair and you're trying to get help, the reality is there are questions you get asked that the way you answer them make a big difference. And people put themselves in trouble. And when they aren't in trouble, they didn't do anything wrong, but suddenly the adjuster's got a statement that can blow up their case completely.
What has caused people to be so untrustworthy, I guess is the best way I could put it? They take advantage.
Well, insurance companies have hired adjusters whose job it is to deal with unrepresented people. So they're supposed to kind of lure them in, call them every day, see how they're doing. And people are like, oh, I'm doing pretty good. Where the reality is they've kind of adjusted to their problem that they've got going on. So it's not that they're completely better, but the way they say it gets to be a problem. And that's why having somebody who can explain your rights, represent you, make sure that you understand the law before you give a statement can make a big difference in your case.
Michael Bryant, Bradshaw and Bryant. Ladies and gentlemen, Tom for Wellshire Alzheimer's and Dementia Care Facilities. I know these people very well, really good people. Here's the deal. Wellshire Alzheimer's and Dementia Care Facilities are a place where your loved one will live with pride and dignity. Very, very important. If you care deeply about someone in your life, Wellshire is the place I highly recommend. As I said, I've known them for 2 generations now. Wellshire is a memory care-focused facility that has a full nursing team, always staffed within the building 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. They have never used or relied on any staffing agencies. Wellshire of Medina, now accepting elderly waivers after 12 months of private pay. I know them personally. And they are a family-owned local company conveniently located right in Medina and Bloomington. They are the best staffed memory care facility in the state. Wellshire has a robust community with activities 7 days a week. If your loved one is in need of a memory care facility, please get in touch with my friends at Wellshire. Set up a tour or learn more at wellshiremn.com. That's WEALSHIREMN.com.
This is the Tom Barnard Podcast.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are back. Judd, you got a lot on your shoulders today because somehow, even talking about sports, you're going to have to make us happier than we are right now.
Wow. Well, I got real good news on sports because the Wild and the Wolves both won last night.
We need it more than ever. Did you catch the news this morning yet?
On the plane crash?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was terrible.
That's just horrible. So thank you for coming on with good news. You got a good attitude about it. That stuff is very, very tough for me to just that whole, because none of them being in the service and being on the skate team are very old. We figured maybe the oldest person, unless there was a family member or something, about 45 years old of the 67 people probably.
Wow. So that was what's the specifics of the passenger plane then? Do we know more about the who was on that?
Yeah, matter of fact, AJ just read the whole situation. It was a skating team from all over, mostly from like Russia, you said, and where?
Yeah, so it looks, Tevin kind of was able to find out that it looks like most of the people were it was like a figure skating group who were kind of traveling or whatever and coming in. 2 of the bodies that have been recovered and confirmed are, I'm trying to get the names here so I don't butcher them here, but it looks like, here, 1 second here. It's the skating pair of Evgenia Shishkova and Vadim Naumov, who skated together in 1994, Olympics a couple times, and they have a son, Maxim, who is a competitive figure skater for the U.S., but they have been found amongst the wreckage so far.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Otherwise, they just say, several members of the U.S. figure skating community or whatever, however many.
Okay. Well,
and then terrible. 3 people on the helicopter, of course. But we're speculating there probably nobody involved in that over 45, even maybe 50 years old. A bunch of very, very young people, very talented people, all the rest of it. It just was one of those situations where, I just woke up this morning, had a great night's sleep, and I was thinking through things and all the rest of it. I hop on social media, and everybody hates everybody, and it's like, okay, well, maybe I'll turn on a TV and see what's going on in the world. I went back to everybody hating everybody because it's a very, very sad story, no question. 67 people are dead.
I know. And I actually saw the coverage last night. I think it happened at 9:00 Eastern,
Just
if I'm not
about,
mistaken.
Yeah. Almost.
And in watching the coverage, it's really sad because there's all of these near, which is scary too, these near midair collision misses.
Yeah.
Or these misses, but when it's a near miss, you hear about it maybe, and you don't think that much about it. But this is just awful.
Yeah, I've never been in a situation like that. I used to fly a lot back in the days when, in voiceover, you had to go from city to city. They didn't have just sit in your basement and cut commercials.
Yeah.
You had to actually go there. I was flying all the time, and I just thinking of how lucky I was. I never even came. The only thing that ever happened on a jet was, and I don't know why this would have happened, but we're leaving Minneapolis-St. Paul International Airport, and the jet took off, and then all of a sudden just shot straight up in the air. It was like, whoa, that's weird. So they level it off, come back down. Did it a second time, and the pilot said, yeah, maybe I should go back to the airport, and we'll get you on a different plane. It's like, Jesus.
Oh, wow.
That was terrifying. That was many, many years ago, a long time ago now
Sure.
that happened. But, it's just one of those situations where these people are not very old. Not that, it's okay for old people to die either. That's not what I mean. But getting the full run at life is just not going to happen for 67 people. And
Yep.
I don't know. It's just, I have a difficult time getting past all that stuff. That death thing is not my kind of deal.
Well, I think it's tough it's got to be tough for the vast majority of us, right? Because I saw that, and it's just, and plus, knock on wood, but that type of thing in 2025, just like we're not used to it at all. Like air travel has become, again, knock on wood, but it's become so safe comparatively.
Yeah,
you just don't think about it that much. I remember when I was a kid. What was it, Tom? Around 79 or so. There was the passenger jet over a neighborhood in San Diego that collided with a small plane.
Oh, yeah.
Into a neighborhood.
Yep.
That was awful. And it's not like we saw, it's not like a plane crashes were normal back then, but it feels like that sort of thing happened, a little bit more back then. And now it just feels like it's so safe, and there's so much, there's precautions as well. So, yeah.
Indeed, it's absolutely true. I just, God, things have happened on airplanes. I've seen a couple of fist fights on airplanes. It's a lot better than crashing the airplane, though. But I had a friend, Tommy, who worked in the record business with me at the same time, and he and I used to fly around a lot together because, again, you had to go to the places. You couldn't hop on the internet back then.
Sure.
And he's a nice Irish boy from Cleveland, let me put it that way. And we get on after taking the clients out to dinner, and we've all had some cocktails.
Mm-hmm.
Tommy might have had more than the rest of us.
Mm-hmm.
Gets on the airplane, we're sitting there, and we're laughing and joking, and this guy kind of got upset that we were laughing. And Tommy, who's there, and he goes, "What the F are you looking at, pal?" I'm like, oh, God, going to be a fist fight on an airplane. That'd be just great.
And they're going to turn the plane around, and then they're going to come on and arrest people because you can't get in fist fights on airplanes.
That was many, many years ago, thank God. But I'm trying to, it's one of those situations when I get up, because I got up several hours ago, like I said, and popped on the television. Well, again, the reason I even turned the television on early this morning is because there was so much hatred on social media. I was like, I don't want to read this. I hate Trump. I hate Biden. I hate you. It's like, oh, my God. So I would normally have not turned on the television, but the hatred was just flying this morning on social media. And then I turned on the TV, and it's like, oh, my God. It's one of those days, man. How this stuff happens, I don't know. There's some people implying that it was intentional, I don't think it was myself.
Oh,
but
I saw a couple of those, yeah.
Yeah. Well, AJ just showed the flight patterns, and the helicopter did take a kind of not a hard right, but an angled right. Now that because the helicopter hit the airplane. I mean, the airplane didn't steer off past.
Right, the airplane was going to land.
Yes,
it was on the way to land. So but.
So if you could help Uncle Tommy out today and give me some good news about sport. You said that already they both won, so I think we should cheer up a little bit by maybe just hearing, Minnesota won 2 games. Has that ever happened in the history of Minnesota sports before, that 2 teams won on the same day?
Not enough.
Not enough.
How about that?
That's
Not
a good
enough.
way to put it.
But yeah, the Wolves, the Wild played in Toronto, which is actually a good team, and they played a marvelous game, which was great because they had played 2 duds last week, and they remain fantastic. It's really bizarre on the road. They're not good at home, but they are 19. They have 19 wins, which leads the National Hockey League on the road. And then the Wolves played at Phoenix, and they won as well. So. Yeah, it's incredibly good news for a town that doesn't have a lot of good news when it comes to sports a lot of the time.
Yeah, and with the Wolves, because there's been a lot of talk recently about Julius Randle not really fitting in, not really giving a lot of effort on defense, and potentially getting traded. And now De'Aaron Fox, and I guess Jimmy Butler with what's going down in Miami, their names have been floated as potentially landing in Minnesota and getting Randle out of here. Is there any truth to any of that, or are we just kind of wishing and hoping?
Butler is a definite no. They're not going to go through that again. And plus, he's older now. He's a complete pain in the ass. He's not getting anywhere. In fact, he's probably going to go at the end of the day to Phoenix. De'Aaron Fox would be great, but the Wolves are so hard pressed up against the salary cap that it's probably a pipe dream. But there is a chance that they could trade Julius. That's not off the table. But I don't think it's going to be one of these names that have been talked about. But Jimmy Butler, my God, let's just be done with this. He's now basically quit that team. Come on.
Yeah. He's
a nut job.
He skipped a team flight to go watch a pickleball game or something like that. And he's pretty much just said, you know what, I might as well retire.
Yep. So that's not going to take place, and it shouldn't. But I would not be surprised. The trade deadline for the NBA is next Thursday as well. So it's coming up here pretty quick.
Okay, I have a question for you. Why, when you said he's a nut job, did you look right at me?
Well, I was just looking at the entire panel, and you perceive that.
Yeah, I did. Yes.
Oh, Jimmy Butler's such a pain in the ass. He is. He's one of these. He's talented, but he's one of these just. Where it's that the whole thing here was such a debacle.
I understand completely, no question about it. We're getting closer to the Super Bowl. Any good, bad news, anything going on? It's still 10 days away or something?
Yeah, a week from Sunday. So the teams will get there. The teams will arrive. I think they arrive on Sunday night, and the coverage will be wall to wall starting then, which is always the Super Bowl. The game is fine. I hate the 2 weeks off.
Yeah, I understand.
I hate the build-up. It's let's just get to, do we really need to have 2 weeks off?
Well, we got to get ready to take on one another. Is that, it's in New Orleans, right? The Super Bowl's in New Orleans this year. Go to Mrs. B's. If you're going, there's a place called Mrs. B's right on the strip there. You will not regret it. Wonderful place. I spent a lot of time because after the hurricanes hit that area and tore it apart pretty badly about, 20 years ago or something? It was a long time ago.
07-ish, yeah.
Oh, was that 07? My God, it was 18 years ago.
I think it was 07, yeah.
Yeah, so we went down there and tried to help people out. And the one thing, it gives you a great feeling to try to do that, go down and try to help people. And that's one thing I do love about human beings, man, when they step up instead of being a pain in the ass when they help out. I love that.
Yeah. Well, unfortunately, that's not what gets the coverage, though.
No, absolutely
That's the
not.
problem. The coverage comes from the pains in the butts, but no, there's not. I don't think there's a lot of bad food choices in that city. Right. I think there's a lot of great ones, so it does not surprise me.
Okay, since this is the last time I'm going to be working with you because we're moving later in the day and you guys work at that time, so we can't work together anymore, unfortunately. Although I still think you just hand it off to Phil and then you can come on the show.
Phil and Declan? It's been my pleasure, too.
Oh, it's been my pleasure,
by the
believe
way.
me. the tip off. As you well, yeah, we may work together again someday. I hope so, because all three of you guys are really great to work with. So thank you. I'm not talking about you two. I'm talking about the guys that work with.
Oh
Judd.
no, yeah, I assumed you were talking about Phil and Declan, and
yeah, exactly.
Ross, and whatever other interns they got in the closet back there.
Okay, you ready?
Yep.
This is really good news. We have good news on a terrible day so far.
All right.
What is the healthiest meal in the world? What does it include?
Oh my God. This is a
Can I just tell you?
Yeah.
It's really good news.
Okay.
The healthiest meal in the world includes cheese and chocolate. Yeah, baby. It works
Really?
for me. That's what it says.
They're talking about those big melting fondue pots that you can get at Golden Corral and dip bread in.
Are you going to say like nacho cheese dipped in chocolate Doritos or what?
Well, it says here, you want to really eat healthy. Nutritionists in England came up with what she claims is the healthiest meal in the world. It's not your average lunch, but it does include cheese and chocolate. Don't get too excited yet, though.
Yep.
It's 3 courses, a starter, a main course, and a dessert. The whole thing is 1,200 calories for three servings. For a starter, a main course, and a dessert, it's only 1,200 calories. So it's a good amount of food, but you won't find it on a menu anywhere. So you'd need to make it at home. Here's what she claims is the healthiest meal in the world. The starter is labneh cheese with roasted tomatoes and broccoli. What is labneh cheese? I don't know what that is.
I was going to say, so now we're getting specific. Like I thought it was on when it came to cheese.
Yeah, you're like, I'm looking at a block of Velveeta.
Yeah, there you go.
Give me those slices of cheese.
Oh, it's getting worse as I go.
Oh, boy.
Main course is citrus mackerel salad with chickpeas, fennel, and red onions. No, thank you. I'm out.
You said this lady's British, right?
Yep.
It kind of looks like it, yeah.
So the taste buds aren't great.
And the wrap, I've been breathing that horrible air for so long. For dessert, tofu chocolate mousse with blueberries. Well, that wouldn't be too bad.
Yeah.
Recipe calls for dark chocolate. Well, I like dark chocolate. You guys like dark chocolate?
Yeah, that's fine.
It's fine.
Yeah.
I'm fine with that. Yeah.
And the blueberries are loaded with antioxidants, so it's kind of okay. But the main course that's not.
You know what this sounds like?
What?
This sounds like you eat healthy and surround it with cheating food.
Yeah.
To make yourself, but you feel good because you ate that crappy main course.
It's like
This sounds like a cheat day.
It's the celery, but then you're just gonna gob mounds of peanut butter on
Protein.
there.
It's just protein.
Sure. It is protein.
That's exactly what this sounds like. I'm just saying the British, they don't necessarily eat the best foods or the most tasty foods. How about that?
Well, there's some good things, though. Fish and chips, pretty good.
That's true.
Definitely. Yeah.
Smothered with the right things again, though.
Well, that's true. That's a very good point. Now, Judd, it's been a thrill working with you, man. You guys are both really well. Don't tell.
I'm not going to tell Phil.
But
I'm not going to tell Phil.
But yeah, it's been great working with you, and hopefully again someday we can pop on each other's show or something and just come on as a guest or something. That'd be great.
Absolutely. In fact, when the Twins are celebrating a World Series championship
in
November, I say we make it happen.
Devin's laughing like there's no tomorrow.
He did like a spit take.
Yeah, he did a spit take.
He did like I did.
Was my mic still on?
Did. So, Judd, all the best to you, pal, and I will see you
Thank
soon,
you.
I'm sure. Thank you, sir.
Take care. Thank you again.
We'll take a break, be right back. Do we have to talk to Ross? I mean, are we forced to talk to Ross? Is that the idea?
Yes, I promised him. I texted him out of the office last night. He said, "Okay, but if you cancel on me, I'm going to make your life a living hell." So I don't want that to happen.
Okay, just between us, and don't tell him this in advance, but I'm gonna introduce him as Ross Brendel. Just totally massacre his name.
That's fine with me.
Who are you? What? Who is it again?
It's actually Toss.
We've got Ross from Friends. Is on.
David Schwimmer.
I thought it was a Ross from Friends. What the hell are you doing on? Ross is with us. He's kind of filling in today for where's Chrissy Eggert?
What lavish vacation is he on now?
Yeah, for a guy that works so much, he sure does take a lot of vacation days. He texted me last night.
Yeah.
What did he say? He goes, "Hey, thanks again for the heads up on that story, blah, blah, blah." On a completely unrelated note, I have some vacation days to burn, so I will not be there the next couple of days. I said, all right.
So I don't get to say goodbye to Chris on the air. That's real nice, Eggert. Real nice.
Did he just decide last night at 8:00?
Probably
He was going on this vacation.
Timing's never been his strong suit.
No.
Ladies and gentlemen, SKOR North's Ross Brendel. Or what did I say I was going to call him? Brendel?
Brendel.
Something.
That's fine.
You do pronounce it Brendel, though, don't you?
Brendel.
Brendel. See, that's why, because that name, I've known several people with that name, and they all pronounce it differently. Brendel, Brendel, Brendel. I mean, they do. Honestly, guys, pick a name for Christ's sake. All right, we'll take a break. Be right back with Rossi right after this. Why should your business bank with North American Banking Company? Here's Austin Bartz of Bartz Lawn and Landscape and Bartz Snow Sculptures.
I started banking with North American, I think, 3.5 years ago. All the people know me by name. I know them by name. It's fun to come into the bank and actually talk to somebody you know. So I made the switch and I'm very happy. It's the best bank I've ever been at.
So why not bank where I bank? With my friends at North American Banking Company. To learn more about North American Banking Company, go to nabankco.com. That's nabankco.com, or do what I do and stop by any one of their 6 Twin Cities locations. Member FDIC, equal housing lender.
The past several years have been the craziest in the history of the car business. The pandemic, supply chain and chip issues, all causing extreme inventory shortages that led to, well, predatory pricing. Some dealers charge thousands of dollars over MSRP.
We never played that game. I'm Jim Paul of Valley Buick GMC. We knew that would leave a bad taste in a customer's mouth. More importantly, from an integrity standpoint, it was just wrong.
So what about the current market? Inventory and pricing.
Valley has their best inventory in years. Really all the Buick and GMC models. Even the previously hard-to-find Yukons, HD pickups, and Hummer EVs. Plenty of deep discounts. Many with factory rebates and low-interest financing.
Then it's a good time to buy?
It's a great time. We're welcoming our previous customers back, as well as anyone else that felt the treatment just didn't feel right the last time somewhere else.
Valley Buick GMC in Apple Valley and Hastings, or valleycardealers.com. Car buying without the bad aftertaste.
Does thinking about retirement make you uncomfortable? Sometimes the anxiety for wondering if you've saved enough can be overwhelming. But what if I told you that you could ease those tensions in just 48 minutes? My guy, Josh Arnold, Mr. Money Talk, can sit down with you and get you on the right track for your financial future. Josh has navigated it all when it comes to uncertain market and economic conditions, and he'll always provide straight talk. Never sugar-coated advice on how to reach the finish line with your retirement goals. Don't let your financial worries give you an ulcer or keep you from calling Josh right now. His 48-minute no-obligation consultation could be just what you need to feel better about your future. Call Josh today at 952-925-5608. Set up your free 48-minute no-obligation consultation. That's 952-925-5608. Investment services offered by Josh Arnold Investment Consultant, LLC Security Investment Advisor. Past performance is no guarantee of future results. All investments must involve risk. You know that. All comments and opinions of Josh Arnold do not constitute investment advice. I am a paid endorser.
You're listening to the Tom Barnard Podcast.
We are back, ladies and gentlemen. Coming on with us now, Ross Lednerb is with us. How are you?
Ringo Starr, when he checked into hotels, used to invert his name, so he would be Rats Ogner.
Rats Ogner.
Yeah, so I always thought, this goes way back. I love that you would say that. My buddies and I, in junior high school, that's how we would greet everybody. So I was Sore Lednerb.
Sore Lednerb.
Yeah.
And I can feel it right now. Yes, I can. Well, Dranrab has been my deal for a long time. I can't remember who the first one was calling me. Barnard backwards is Dranrab, and they just loved that. So I still use it. Works.
Names are a funny thing. AJ's heard me numerous times play this game where I invert people's names. You just basically take their first initial of their first name, first initial of their last name, and change them. So the greatest one of all time is Sarah Palin. If you flip her name around, she's Parasailing.
Oh, Parasailing. I love that.
So, so you can have a lot of fun with that. Joe Biden, Bo Jiden. That's just something that I think of, especially a lot of times in car trips. You're just trying to think of stuff to pass time.
Yeah. Mine's terrible. Bomb Tarnard.
There is one. There's a fairly famous running back who plays for the Kansas City Chiefs. I won't say it out loud, but if you take his first and last name, his is very vile when you flip them. And I'm sure Tevin's already going to work on trying to figure that one out.
Hareem.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Listen to you guys.
Yeah. That's not something we should even say on a podcast.
No.
I just thought of something. Tucker Carlson's lucky that his name is Carlson and not Farrelson.
Yeah. No.
Think about that.
Oh, no, there are like, there's a lot that when I just think of them, and I know there's other ones, I'll probably just send you guys a group chat, but there's some really funny ones. So that's one way to pass time.
I understand completely. SKOR North, Ross, Brendel, what did I say? Lead Nerd?
Lead Nerd.
Yeah, there you go. It's brought to you by Mr. Money Talk, Josh Arnold. Call Josh today for your free 48-minute evaluation at 952-925-5608. So, what is going on in the world, Pally?
Well, first off, AJ absolutely knows that I love him and he hates when I do this stuff. But the term that the kids use, that probably AJ and Tevin use because they're far cooler than I am, give people their flowers. How about AJ breaking news on that fight yesterday?
Oh, yeah. AJ's serious. Journalistic standards are high.
Going straight to the source, getting stuff live on the air and then giving it to Chris Eggert, who, sorry, Chris, you probably should have had that before AJ. I'm just going to throw that out there. Yet AJ beats you to the scoop. And I'm going to recap a little bit about the plane incident. I know it's a downer, Tom, but I'll recap what I know. Some you guys have already said, and that's more the credit. I thought all three of you guys did a very good job here at the beginning of the show, just kind of recapping what we know at the moment. I'm going to go through a quick laundry list here, and then maybe we can talk afterwards. Some of it you guys have already said, but I do know some people listen live, and they're probably just hopping in. Mm-hmm. Total of 67 passengers believed to be dead between the helicopter and the American Eagle plane, which is a subsidiary of American Airlines. They had 60 passengers aboard, plus 4 staff and crew for 64. Right. That Army Black Hawk helicopter had 3 people believed to be on a training mission for a total of 67. As of 7:54 this morning, they've recovered 27 bodies from the plane and 1 from the helicopter. God. The plane was attempting to land, as AJ had talked about, on runway 33, with 33, however you want to do that in I can never get that right. Right? It's they say 33, but then other people say 33. I'm not trying to make a joke here. I'll never understand all that aviation stuff. That is the smaller runway. Not that it matters here, but that there's 3 runways there. Something I did learn last night: the long runway at Reagan, one of the busiest, if not the busiest in the country. It's not the busiest airport, but it's the biggest. It's the busiest landing strip because of all the people coming in and out. You guys mentioned several U.S. figure skating parents, coaches, members on the plane. President Trump had this on Truth Social. The airplane was on a perfect and routine line of approach to the airport. The helicopter was going straight at the airplane for an extended period of time. It's a clear night, in all caps. The lights on the plane were blazing. Why didn't the helicopter go up or down or turn? Why didn't the control tower tell the helicopter what to do instead of asking if they saw the plane? This is a bad situation that looks like it should have been prevented. Not good, in all caps. So he's not really giving us a ton of information that most of us don't know, probably because he obviously doesn't have it, but he is asking some of the questions that we are. You can argue on both sides if that's the right platform to do it or how to do it. Wednesday's collision also recalled the crash, and I thought of this right away, Tom, because I think we've talked that I pay way too much attention to plane incidents. Mm-hmm. To the Air Florida flight back in 1982. Do you remember this one?
Oh, yeah.
It took off after not being de-iced and immediately did not gain altitude, crashed, hit a part of the bridge, and went right into the Potomac. That one, I don't remember the exact numbers, but they did pull some survivors from that. There was even a nearby, I want to say construction worker, but it might have been a TV crew member who jumped in himself to pull people from the water.
I remember that.
So a lot of people immediately thought of that right away. This is the deadliest air incident since November 12th of 2001 when American Airlines flight crashed into the neighborhood in New York. That killed all 260 people on board, and I believe even a few on the ground. It literally went into a neighborhood. And then also the first major commercial incident in America since 2009 when Colgan Air Flight 3407, they crashed during a landing nearing Buffalo Niagara International Airport. That killed 49 people on board. A few other quick notes. This was the thing that I heard last night and just immediately astounded me. The Transportation Secretary, Sean Duffy, had been on the job for about 24 hours when this happened.
Oh, God.
And Christy Nome, Homeland Security, they're both heavily involved. She'd been on the job for about a week. So this is where you go back to, and this is the stuff that I don't think we should take lightly as a country. This is where that peaceful transition of power matters.
Yes. Absolutely.
Keeping everybody on the same page, getting all the duties split and assigned appropriately. So that to me is another, I don't want to say interesting side note because there's nothing interesting about a tragedy, but that is another thing to follow here. If we can be positive, and one incident is way too many, since 2009, there have been over 150 million commercial flights in the United States without incident. So, again, I don't love flying. I don't know how you guys feel. I do it because it's convenient. I don't really want to do it, but it still is pretty darn safe. There has been a lot of stories recently about air traffic controllers being overworked. There's been a lot of near misses, I believe, even at that airport. So all that stuff needs to get better and cleaned up. It's not solace to the people who have lost their lives or the families affected by this, but it is still a very safe way to travel. So those are all the updates I have as of about 8 o'clock this morning, putting that together, and they'll obviously be updated throughout the day. Excellent.
Well, I'll say in closing, I used to like flying a lot more when I used to drink. It was much more fun.
It's, I won't lie, there is something to that. I mean, there really is. I just, there's nothing about flying that I like, and not a lot of it has to do with the safety of the plane, if that makes any sense. I don't love getting to an airport early. I don't love how germ-filled and dirty airplanes are. There's just a lot to it, and I don't know. It's tough, though. Can I give you a positive story really quickly?
Sure.
You guys probably already talked about this. Eggert probably talked about it. Do you guys know we can name snowplows again?
Oh, thank God.
They're bringing that back.
Yeah, there we go.
No.
Okay, so I'm glad you guys all had the same reaction I did. Once was funny, 2 was kind of cool. Can we be done naming the snowplows?
Yeah.
I'm over it.
Yeah, we've got better things to do.
Also, I don't want to throw anybody under the bus in our company, but even the headline kind of makes me cringe. Don't just snow.
Oh, God.
It's time to vote for MnDOT snowplow names.
All right.
Go home. The funny part is I read that headline, say it makes me cringe. I would absolutely write that headline, so I don't know why I'm so upset about it.
It all works out in the end, Pally. Thank you, Ross.
Yeah, no problem. Good to see you all.
Man. Nice talking to you. SKOR North's Ross. I still going to call him Lednerb. Is brought to you by Mr. Money Talk, Josh Arnold. Call Josh today for your free 48-minute evaluation at 952-925-5608. We do have a couple of guests coming up next. Chase and Alan are coming up next, are they not?
Yeah, I'm expecting a call here in the next minute or two. So if we take a break, hopefully they're ready to rock as soon as we come back.
Well, that timed out perfectly then.
Sure did.
I like that. We'll be right back.
True professional.
Yes. Why should your business bank with North American Banking Company? Here's Austin Bartz of Bartz Lawn and Landscape and Bartz Snow Sculptures.
I started banking with North American, I think, 3.5 years ago. All the people know me by name. I know them by name. It's fun to come into the bank and actually talk to somebody you know. So I made the switch, and I'm very happy. It's the best bank I've ever been at.
So why not bank where I bank? With my friends at North American Banking Company. To learn more about North American Banking Company, go to nabankco.com. That's nabankco.com, or do what I do and stop by any one of their 6 Twin Cities locations. Member FDIC, equal housing lender. From Bradshaw and Bryant, Michael Bryant. What's up, Allie?
Oh, not much. Doing my usual thing of telling people they shouldn't be texting and driving. In Minnesota, you can't have your phone in your hands. You can use, hands free, but you can't have your phone in your hand for whatever reason. And that's why they made the law the way they did, so that police officers could see a phone in your hand and you got no excuse for why you got it there.
Do people know that that's the law?
I hope so. I mean, they used to follow it, and then kind of COVID kind of made people forget. And now it's like a freewheeling world out there with cell phones.
Let's say you get pulled over because you do have a phone in your hand and you're not watching where you're going. You got to be in pretty big trouble then, I would guess.
Well, the first one's not as bad. It's the multiple ones, the problem. And once people start stacking them up, then they have a big problem. And then what we're doing in car accidents is we've started bringing motions for punitive damages, because I'm trying to use the civil law any way we can to stop this, because it needs to stop.
whenever I'd had any problems in my life, who was that I called again? It was like an MB, something like that.
Bradshaw and Bryant.
This is Brett Paul from Valley Buick GMC in Apple Valley. We've always had a professional sales staff on our show floors, but recently have added a few more to the arsenal. Neil Hadding was a salesperson at Valley for over 2 decades, probably the best truck guy around. He left for a manager position elsewhere, but decided to kick back and return to work with thousands of his old friends and customers. It's a similar story with Tim Condon. He spent many years in the sales and finance at Valley before spending time in Alaska, to the relief of many, many friends and customers who returned a few years back. Not a returnee, but a welcome addition to our seasoned staff, Charlie Fink. Charlie followed Neil to Apple Valley to head up the finance department. He is well known to many Twin City car customers after being in the business for over 3 decades. If you're looking for a familiar face or just the face of experience, visit one of these professionals at Jim Paul's Valley Buick GMC in Apple Valley or Hastings, or at valleycardealers.com.
You're listening to the Tom Barnard Podcast.
You are indeed, ladies and gentlemen. So what's the latest?
We've got Chase and Allen ready to rock on the line.
Magnificent, ladies and gentlemen. The film Valiant One opening in theaters nationwide on January 31st. Man, January's almost over already. Tomorrow is the last day of January. What
yeah,
the
it's crazy
hell?
how that happened.
In the heart-pounding military thriller Valiant One, a routine mission spirals into a fight for survival when a U.S. Army helicopter... Oh, my God. The timing on this, Jason Allen's pretty amazing. How you doing?
We're good. I got to tell you, we should have put your voice on the trailer. That sounded amazing. Yeah.
I used to do movie trailers for about 30 years, as a matter of fact. So thank you. That's quite the compliment. But back in those days, you had to fly there to do the movie trailer, so that got a little old. Like, not a lot of internet back then and all the rest of it. But yeah, it was a good time, no question about it. Unfortunately, the timing of your appearance is amazing, both good and bad. But I mean, what happened this morning, unfortunately. And it had to do with the helicopters and the whole deal. Army helicopter crashes deep within North Korean territory with their communications equipment destroyed. Captain Edward Brockman, Chase, and Specialist Selby, Lana, must lead the team through hostile terrain. Everywhere I go is hostile terrain. I want you to know that, Chase and Allen. That's just how it is. So what's going on? So this sounds like my kind of movie, but it had nothing to do with it. But I apologize for, unfortunately, this appearance coming on a day when we have to fight through 67 people being killed because apparently a helicopter turned into a flight coming into Reagan National Airport.
Yeah, it's absolutely unfortunate timing, and I'm sure like you guys and certainly like everybody on our side, the filmmaking team, our thoughts and prayers go out to everybody that was affected. And honestly, we made a film to attempt to honor the men and women of service that are willing to sacrifice their lives to protect us. And it's just like you said, such a tragic thing that happened yesterday, and the timing is tough. But we just hope that, from like we did from the beginning, we hope that this film honors those people who are serving.
That is wonderful. I gotta check something out here. So basically, Chase and Lana, right?
Mm-hmm.
In the movie. So it's not Chase and Allen like it says on the piece of paper here.
No, I think I walked in the background. One. Yeah,
okay,
no,
so it's Chase and Lana.
But we point cameras at Chase and let him tell the story. It's a smart thing to do.
Well, I just wanted to make sure I got the right names on here because, that stuff happens once in a while. You wouldn't want people paying attention to what they were doing. You know what I mean? But in any case, this at this point sounds to me like my kind of movie. Like I said, the coincidence is unbelievable having you on today. But the people who serve this nation, serve this country, no matter what's going on, all the way from World War I up to today and all the rest of it, very Valiant One. Valiant is a great word to describe that. Yeah, who picked the title?
They've had that title for a while. My partner Steve, who also at Monarch, we financed and produced the film. He also directed and he wrote the picture. So it's been titled Valiant One for a long, long time. He's been developing this for 15, 16 years. We started the company 5 or 6 years ago. He brought the idea and the story and the script, for that matter, to the table once we started the company. And it's always been a great title. And to your point, we just felt like it really represented the men and women of service and the story that we wanted to tell. So it's been that for a while. I'm glad you like it.
What's amazing for me, and again, this is just a personal opinion on the whole situation, but perfect place, opening in theaters nationwide. In theaters, need more movies like Valiant One, because you want to sit in a movie theater with that giant screen and see it all going on. Look, I watch movies on television as well, but aren't you very, very glad that Valiant One's going to open in theaters?
Absolutely. I mean, I think there's just something special about getting out of your house and getting off your couch and going to a theater and getting an extra large popcorn with unlimited butter.
There you go.
A little bit. Yeah. I mean, it's some of my earliest childhood memories, and it's still something to this day at 32 years old that I love doing, whether it's with somebody or by myself. And I think that's just, this is one of those films, you've got to see it that way. We love the fact that we have the opportunity to stream, and we're very thankful that all of these platforms have presented themselves, but there's nothing like going to the movie theater and watching a movie.
Are movies like Valiant One tough to shoot? Because a lot of stuff going on all the time in movies like this, I would think. Is it difficult to do, or is it just flow the way you want it to? That's interesting.
I mean, it really comes down to the team around and who's developing the film. Because, for face value, absolutely, this could seem like a project that has a lot of detail-oriented components to it, and it does. But, Monarch, who financed and produced this film, Alan and Steve and Vicky, they're just seasoned professionals. And we also had our military advisor, Todd Charbit. He's a 25-year Master Chief veteran. He was in the SEALs his entire career. When you have somebody like that who's guiding you from the authenticity and the accuracy on the military side, it's kind of a very, very beautiful opportunity that comes to you and far and in between, because there traditionally in filmmaking is a lot of missteps and, learning a little bit as you go. But this was, as far as my experience, one of the most seamless, fluid productions I've ever been a part of.
God, that's wonderful to hear. I mean, it really is nice. Since I was a little boy, I got to be honest with you, going to the movie theater, and now, of course, a lot on television as well. But it was a great way for me to learn about the world and to handle certain things about the world. It would be brought up in the shooting of a movie. You go and watch the movie, and you go, oh, that's because as a little boy, you sometimes don't, there's nobody, like my father wasn't around when I was a little boy. So I had to kind of figure out what this was all about when I was a little kid. And movies like this, it just shows me that there are people out there that are that valiant, that are that brave, that will give it all to protect our ideals. I think that's a wonderful thing.
Thank you. And I meant a lot. Want to say, I come from, a situation where I had a father who wasn't very present in those primitive years of my life. So, to hear you say that and to be a part of a story that I now have a different perspective on because of your comments, to think about it through a new lens is really beautiful. So thank you for, giving us that little nugget of your experience, because that's a beautiful connective tissue.
You know what's great about that? What if they find out your dad was hanging out with my dad?
Wouldn't be surprised.
I wouldn't be surprised. I am glad there are movies like this to go to. There's, look, the humor is a wonderful thing and all the rest of it, but people standing up for what they believe in. Are there a lot of movies out there now like Valiant One where you're standing up for things you believe in and basically putting your life on the line to show people what you do believe in? I think it's a great story.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I don't know. What else can I possibly say about it? How long did it take you to shoot this movie? These movies generally take a while to shoot, don't they?
actual production time, Alan, we were 5 weeks?
5 weeks. It might have leaked into, so we did 5 weeks and some reshoots, but the story of film is often a long one, and this is certainly no exception. I think, as I mentioned, my partner Steve's been trying to make this movie for 15 years. It almost went a couple of times. We're glad that it didn't, because the team that we put on this was the writing with Chase and Lana and all their castmates. And so we as a company have been trying to make it for 5 or 6 years, and we're fortunate enough to put the wheels on the bus a year and a half ago, and here we are.
I like that. Put the wheels on the bus. That works for me. Where'd you guys grow up, if you don't mind me asking?
Oh, like it. I'm from the South. My dad was a pastor, so I moved around the South, just kind of all over the place. South Carolina, Mississippi, South Florida, Virginia. I just kind of popped around the Southeast a bunch.
Oh, that's terrific.
And my dad was not a pastor. He, my stepfather, he sold data, but I was born in Annapolis, Maryland. Grandfather, great-grandfather both served. Richmond, Virginia to South Florida to lived in St. Louis for about 6 months, mostly in Atlanta, Georgia, and Orlando, Florida.
So I think that's terrific. I'm glad I asked that question, because you guys just proved why this movie is one to watch, because you actually know what you're talking about. You've been through a lot of it. Maybe not at this level, but you've been through watching in your life 3 generations of it all. And I cannot wait to see your movie. So tomorrow, if you're going to be back in South Florida and you run into me, say hello.
Will do. I'll come.
All right. We'll see you at the theater.
Thank you, gentlemen. Great having you on. Thank you for shooting this. We need more movies like this where people are standing up for one another's and other people's rights. I love this, and I will see it tomorrow. So look for the I'll put it on my credit card so you know it's me.
There we go.
All right. Thank you, gentlemen.
Security while you're at it.
Yeah, absolutely. We got somebody's dad did take off early. You learned how to live your life in a different way. That's good. I like that. That works for me.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, fellas. Have a great day.
Bye. Thank you. Thank you as well.
Valiant one, ladies and gentlemen. Chase and Alan with us. I do love these movies. You guys like going to these movies?
Oh yeah, any type of we crash behind enemy lines,
right?
Us 4 versus a whole army to get out. Those are always a good watch.
And it's a nice little kind of Netflix coming together, because obviously Alan Powell, who produces it, was able to get Chase Stokes, who is like the main star of the hit series Outer Banks. Lana Condor she's been in a lot of Netflix original movies, so to have them both on screen now in this setting is it's gonna be fun to watch.
When you watch her, are you glad you never pissed her off?
Yeah, she's a pretty fierce person.
She is, absolutely. Yeah, she absolutely is. But we had 10 minutes, so there were a lot of other things I wanted to get into, but 10 minutes is what they got, so you got to kind of squeeze everything into a 10-minute period. But they did a great interview. Again, I definitely will be going to see the movie this weekend. Looking forward to it.
Yeah, and I love obviously like a war movie always is that genre that I feel like based on what I've Saving Private Ryan or Act of Valor and stuff. This is one that I think is kind of right up my alley.
No, no question. I'm definitely going to go see it. No doubt about it. We'll take a break. Be right back in a couple of minutes. We don't know if Elena's going to be on or not, do we?
I believe, Art said he was calling me back at the top of the hour. I would only assume, unless there's a major surprise, that it's not Elena. So,
okay. So it says on my sheet, 50% chance that she's not going to be on.
Yeah, there's some scheduling stuff that I think for her.
It was originally one day, and then it got moved, but I didn't get a confirmation email, so we're on just in case. But it looks like she'll be on.
Yeah.
Elena Sanchez will, I think, be with us in just a couple of minutes. Be right back.
Does thinking about retirement make you uncomfortable? Sometimes the anxiety for wondering if you've saved enough can be overwhelming. But what if I told you that you could ease those tensions in just 48 minutes? My guy, Josh Arnold, Mr. Money Talk, can sit down with you and get you on the right track for your financial future. Josh has navigated it all when it comes to uncertain market and economic conditions, and he'll always provide straight talk. Never sugar-coated advice on how to reach the finish line with your retirement goals. Don't let your financial worries give you an ulcer or keep you from calling Josh right now. His 48-minute no-obligation consultation could be just what you need to feel better about your future. Call Josh today at 952-925-5608. Set up your free 48-minute no-obligation consultation. That's 952-925-5608. Investment services offered by Josh Ronald Investment Consultant, LLC Security Investment Advisor. Past performance is no guarantee of future results. All investments must involve risk. You know that. All comments and opinions of Josh Reynolds do not constitute investment advice. I am a paid endorser.
The past several years have been the craziest in the history of the car business. The pandemic, supply chain and chip issues, all causing extreme inventory shortages that led to, well, predatory pricing. Some dealers charge thousands of dollars over MSRP.
We never played that game. I'm Jim Paul of Valley Buick GMC. We knew that would leave a bad taste in a customer's mouth. More importantly, from an integrity standpoint, it was just wrong.
So what about the current market? You know, inventory and pricing.
Valley has their best inventory in years. Really all the Buick and GMC models. Even the previously hard-to-find Yukons, HD pickups, and Hummer EVs. Plenty of deep discounts. Many with factory rebates and low-interest financing.
Then it's a good time to buy?
It's a great time. We're welcoming our previous customers back, as well as anyone else that felt the treatment just didn't feel right the last time somewhere else.
Valley Buick GMC in Apple Valley and Hastings or valleycardealers.com. Car buying without the bad aftertaste.
Brad John Bryant, Michael Bryant. Michael, what's up?
Dealing with another case where a person gave a statement to the adjuster because they thought the person was really friendly.
Is that a good idea?
Well, the problem is they know the law when they call you up. And while you're trying to be fair and you're trying to get help, the reality is there are questions you get asked that the way you answer them make a big difference. And people put themselves in trouble. And when they aren't in trouble, they didn't do anything wrong, but suddenly the adjuster's got a statement that can blow up their case completely.
What has caused people to be so untrustworthy, I guess is the best way I could put it? They take advantage.
Well, insurance companies have hired adjusters whose job it is to deal with unrepresented people. So they're supposed to kind of lure them in, call them every day, see how they're doing, and people are like, oh, I'm doing pretty good. Where the reality is they've kind of adjusted to their problem that they've got going on. So it's not that they're completely better, but the way they say it gets to be a problem. And that's why having somebody who can explain your rights, represent you, make sure that you understand the law before you give a statement can make a big difference in your case.
Michael Bryant, Bradshaw and Bryant.
This is the Tom Barnard Podcast.
How are we doing, fellas?
We've got Miss Elena Sanchez on the line.
Elena Sanchez, how are you?
Good morning. I'm good. How are you?
Marvelous now that you're here, sister. Let me put it that way. Right?
Love to hear it.
Although you did already call me Boneface, which I didn't really appreciate. But, oh, wait a minute. I guess you weren't talking to me. Elena Sanchez, ladies and gentlemen, Boneface, a film that follows a small-town sheriff and deputy Sanzhez trying to solve a series of brutal murders perpetrated by a masked killer at a local summer camp, set to release. Matter of fact, it has released as we speak.
A week ago.
A week ago on the 21st of January. Do you think you'll ever get any work, Elena? Because, you've only been in over 100 movies and TV shows. Is that enough work?
When every job ends, I think, oh gosh, am I ever going to work again? And it still happens, and then the next job comes. So maybe I should relax a little.
I think you'll be okay, Elena. I think you're going to be okay with the whole deal. I want to hear about Boneface. Boneface, by the way, is in and of itself a very scary name anyway.
Yeah. So first I didn't really know what to think about the name, and then it grew on me. So I'm okay with it now. But basically, it's kind of like Friday the 13th meets Clue. So it starts off a bit of a fun movie and then turns into a murder mystery.
I like it, no question about it. I'm telling you, I think, to be honest with you, and I just commented on this on social media last night, that movies and television keep getting better and better and better as time goes by. That's wonderful. I suppose the audiences are getting bigger and bigger because there are more and more people all the time, all the rest of it. But really, I just love movies and television shows right now. They're so well produced and very, very entertaining. I mean, this story in and of itself, the story itself sounds very entertaining.
Well, thank you. Yeah, I mean, I think also, there's so much competition now. So before there used to be a limited slot of movies and TV channels, and now you got to make something good that people really want to see, or it's just going to get lost in the mix.
So how did Boneface come to be? Whose idea was it?
Boneface was our writer-director's idea, Michael Donovan Horn. he was actually the writer of a different movie I did, and the producer of Boneface, who I have done 2 movies with, called me up one day and asked me if I wanted to do a murder mystery, and I'm a huge fan of Rian Johnson's Knives Out movies. I just love those so much. And since then, I've wanted to do a murder mystery, and then this one dropped into my lap, and they offered it to me, and I was like, sign me up. When do I show up? What do I need to do?
I'm going to be honest with you. I love them, too. And do you think that's because in real life, there's so many bizarre things that happen, and you're always thinking to yourself, why would anyone do that? And making movies out of it at a later date, you look at it and go, oh, you wouldn't think as just a kid walking down the street that this kind of thing would ever happen. But there are several reasons it does happen. Things like this do happen for several reasons.
Yeah, and it's kind of crazy to think about, and with like plot twists and turns. I mean, it's like you read about these things sometimes from afar, and as an actress, I feel very lucky to get to play and make these stories come to life.
You get to play a tough gal in the movie, I'm assuming.
Well, you're gonna have to watch it to find out.
That's the right answer. There's no question about that, and I definitely will watch it. It's funny because you and my wife have never met, I don't think, but I'm looking at your promo picture, and you're looking at me right now the way she looks at me, and she's like, "Oh God, I got to put up with this again." So,
I do. I am known for giving those looks sometimes. Yes.
No, I could never have told that story unless I had seen that picture already. Movies, are they getting better and better and better? Because it just seems to me the movies, there's some that maybe miss the mark, but movies are really, really good right now.
Yeah, and I like the fact that people are taking risks. I mean, of course, you have the sequels and the remakes and all that, but I think people, especially independent filmmakers, are still taking risks, and that's really refreshing to see.
I got to read this. You have worked on over 100 movies and TV shows. Is that right?
Yeah, I've been lucky.
Well, the reason I asked you look like you're about 18 years old in the picture, so that's a lot of work for an 18-year-old.
You're my new best friend. The day I was born, when I came out of the womb, I was on my first TV.
You were in your first movie. No, it's honest to God. I just 100 movies and TV shows ranging from indies to blockbusters have totaled over $10 billion worldwide box office. You walk up to people in the production business of movies and go, "Yeah, you ever heard of the number 10 billion?" And then just walk away.
I have not done that. Maybe I should try that.
Today's the day. There's no question about that. I am very, very excited to see the movie. I have not seen it yet. Video on demand, as a matter of fact. So tonight will be the night. Uncle Tommy will be sitting down to watch your movie tonight. So check the box.
Love it. Thank you.
Oh, no question about it. It's wonderful to have you on. If you're ever in town, you got to stop in studio, because one thing I really love, there's a picture of Ms. Sanchez sitting in a chair, and she's got this look on her face like, come any closer, I'll punch you. But she also has like high heel, not really, what do you call stack heels? Are those called stack heel shoes?
Is it the one where I'm wearing like a white suit?
Yep, that's the one.
Yeah, well, they're kind of, I don't know, they're like loafers, but with heels, kind of?
Yeah, kind of, but you got your feet turned up like, come near me, I'll kick you. That's what it looks like.
Well, I'm not going to say it, but, be careful.
All right. Well, if you're ever in town, you got to stop by. I would love to have you sit in studio and just talk about all this stuff. But congratulations on the magnificent success you've had. I definitely, with my wife, Catherine, will be watching Boneface. So you can check it out. You can look and see just where I tuned to it, how much money I spent on it. Did we have popcorn? I cannot wait to see your movie. Absolutely.
Amazing. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for your time. Have a great day. Bye.
You too. Bye.
Elena Sanchez, she is one of those women that's stunningly beautiful, but you probably wouldn't want to piss her off.
No.
Yeah, I just feel like I need to, because she was very elusive with kind of what role she played in this movie. So is she Boneface?
Well, that's a good point.
Check out the movie just to make sure that she wasn't the killer.
I think that's a magnificent point you're making there, but I'll tell you one thing. People always ask me, Tom, how much longer are you going to stay in the business? How are you going to do with it? Interviewing people is my favorite thing, as far as a job is concerned. Interviewing people is my favorite thing to do in the world, because when you're not just asking the same questions, they really appreciate it. It's like, so tell me more about the movie. Was that something that really,
Yeah.
I hear some interviews and it's like, could you just try to connect as a human being instead of just, I have to interview you, so I will.
Right. Yeah. A lot of interviewers, I feel like they go through the motions, or if it's a comedian that comes on, they're like, oh, tell us a joke, funny man. And then,
yeah, that's always a good move. I don't know how we're going to handle this. This is not going to be easy, but Kristen Burt is going to be on time for only the second day in 2 years. And it's 2 days in a row. How is it possible?
I'm not sure she's going to be ready.
I was just saying,
there's a shock.
She's probably still asleep.
She probably is still asleep. Kristen Burt is up next.
Why should your business bank with North American Banking Company? Here's Austin Bartz of Bartz Lawn and Landscape and Bartz Snow Sculptures.
I started banking with North American, I think, 3.5 years ago. All the people know me by name. I know them by name. It's fun to come into the bank and actually talk to somebody you know. So I made the switch and I'm very happy. It's the best bank I've ever been at.
So why not bank where I bank? With my friends at North American Banking Company. To learn more about North American Banking Company, go to nabankco.com. That's nabankco.com, or do what I do and stop by any one of their 6 Twin Cities locations. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
It's time for Bradshaw and Bryant. At this time of year, something that we might not think about, slipping and falling on ice when you're out, or worse, someone slipping and falling on your property. Property owners are legally responsible for maintaining a safe environment for visitors. You can post a caution sign or de-ice the area. Failing to do either and somebody getting injured because of your lack of safety precaution can be considered negligent. If someone does slip and fall and suffers an injury, they have a certain amount of time to file a claim, or you lose your right to collect any damages for your injury. If this happens to you, contact an experienced attorney right away. It's free to meet to go over your case. Contact Mike Bryant of Bradshaw and Bryant at MinnesotaPersonalInjury.com. I hope this never happens to you, but if it does, Mike Bryant is the one I recommend to all my friends and listeners.
Find Bradshaw and Bryant, personal injury attorneys at MinnesotaPersonalInjury.com.
Seeking justice for the injured. Bradshaw and Bryant.
I hosted my show on the radio for 40 years. Now I host the Tom Barnard Podcast, and I'll tell you, I've never seen the passion and engagement from our audience as I do now. I know we also have businesses that listen to our podcast, and it got me thinking, wouldn't it be great to help those businesses grow by telling my listeners about them? So here's the deal. If you own or handle marketing for a business, would like to have my audience buy your product or service, visit TomBernardShow.com, keyword partner, and we'll put together an ad campaign to help your business. That's TomBernardShow.com, keyword partner, and thank you for listening.
You're listening to the Tom Barnard Podcast.
And we're back here with the always lovely and talented Kristen Burt. Welcome back in.
I told you not to bring her on. I didn't want to talk to her today.
I'm on time. Actually, it looks like I'm 1 minute early, by the way.
It's unbelievable.
And Tom wasn't even in his seat, but here I was ready for you.
Well, I don't want to tell you what I was doing. No, actually, I had a bunch of clothing that I'm going to throw in the washer and dryer and all that whole deal. And I just walked out just now, and Catherine had already placed them in another spot with a look on her face like, don't just leave them on the floor of the bedroom, okay? Like, yes, dear, whatever. So I had to apologize to Catherine for being me.
How dare you?
How dare you, man? Ladies and gentlemen, Kristen Burt, Entertainment News brought to you by North American Banking Company. Go to nabankco.com to learn more. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender. I'm glad you're popping on right here because we just interviewed a couple of different people that are coming out with new movies. I got to be honest, I think movies are getting better and better. Do you think that's true?
I think that the studios are finally grasping what people want to go to the movies to see. And it takes a little bit of time because a lot of these movies are planned 5 years out. You know, we know when the next, Marvel movie is coming in 2028, that type of thing. But they're realizing that some of the franchises, people are exhausted by them. A lot of the superhero movies, they're not going away, but people are looking for something different at the movie theaters, and the box office is driving that. It's giving us clues as to what people want to go and see. So I think that is the good news. And like I said, we've been in a very chaotic political cycle, and I actually think that this is going to be the comeback of the sitcom, and I think it's going to be the comeback of comedy in movie theaters.
Oh, God, I hope so, because I used to love going to... Well, I could be honest with you, full disclosure, apparently Jude wants to get his opinion in here.
Mm-hmm.
Shut up, Judith, you pill. I don't even know what he's barking at. There's somebody at the door, that's what it is. He guards Nan and Bop Bop. He loves to do that.
Vicious.
Wait, he's got to weigh, about 13 pounds or something? 12 pounds, I think he weighs. So
scary.
Tough guy all the way, no question. I do have to mention quickly, and we'll get through this, but it's part of the day. So very, very sad beginning of the day today. 67 people losing their jobs. It looks like, just from the track that AJ showed us, that the helicopter turned into the jet, and that's how they collided, because the jet was on a very straight path for landing, and it didn't look like it altered its path at all. It looks like the helicopter ran into the plane, and who knows why, but horribly, just a terrible way to start your day, because that's how literally my day started. I got up, and even before I went for my walk, I checked the news, and I might not do that again, because that was tough.
We were watching it live on our end last night. Because the time difference.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, 6:30 or whatever, 7 o'clock.
And there were members, very young members of the USA figure skating team, because they just held their nationals there this past weekend. And then there was a developmental camp for junior skaters. So we lost some young teens, their coaches and parents on that flight.
So it was 8:47 or 8:37? Was that Eastern time or Central time? Do you guys know? Because you brought that up earlier.
I believe it was Eastern time, because that would have been it would have been what Ronald Reagan is in that Eastern, or the airport's in that Eastern Standard Time. So
yep, it is indeed. So basically, it was right during the news hour where you live, Kristen. Correct?
Yeah, I was watching it last night. I was flipping through different stations as they had coverage, and within a matter of, I would say, first 45 minutes to an hour of the tragedy, they had that webcam footage that we've seen of the collision that was already out by that time.
Unbelievable. It just very, very hard to deal with all the rest of it. The one thing, I got up this morning, like I said, I'm in a really good mood, got a good night's sleep, all the rest of it, and I was going to just head on out. And I don't know why I did it, because, I don't turn on the TV because Catherine sleeps later than I do. But I don't know why I did, but I just hopped on social media, and there was not one mention of it on social media this morning when I got up, which would have been about 5:45 Eastern time. So it had happened 12 hours earlier, but all that was on social media was people bitching at each other about politics.
It was all over TikTok last night and Instagram. I know that because I was seeing all of the reports at that point, but.
Should I really? You guys mentioned this yesterday. Should I just get the hell off of X? Is it just too much?
Yes. My comment on that is just a wholehearted yes.
People just hate each other on that thing. It's like, I don't want to read this.
Go to TikTok and look at puppies.
Oh, puppies.
Yeah. It's so happy over there. It's so happy.
Okay, well, maybe that's what I'll do. Because I'm still, I guess, a member on Facebook, but I haven't been on Facebook in a long time, and I don't know. X is getting to be too much for me. It's just so incredibly mean. Why?
Elon Musk.
Well, because is he mean to people on there?
Well, when he bought it, it changed the entire tone of what Twitter is or was.
Oh, really? Oh,
I mean, not that Twitter wasn't divisive beforehand. However, the third party checking, he tossed that out of the window. So, like, I can literally go on there and be like, I know Tom Barnard, and he's a complete communist, and he's going to sit there and overthrow the government. I can say that.
I thought you already did that.
I should. But I can go on and say that, and there's no checks and balances. There might be a community note. Someone might come in and be like, hey, what she's saying is probably not true. But it's allowed to stay up there. And if it goes viral, there are going to be people who will completely believe that. And that will be their opinion of you for the rest of time.
Well, that happened to me years ago, long before social media, because, there are some people in the news business that love that crap. There are people in the news business that invent stories like and that goes all the way back to probably the mid-'50s when television first started. People love that. Some of them
social media, I think, is more dangerous because it has a global audience.
Yes,
absolutely. So I think getting rid of third-party fact-checking, which is also now going to be happening with Meta's platforms, I just think it's a real slippery slope when we're in a time of so much misinformation. Where is your news source coming from?
Right.
Got to make sure it's really those neutral fact-checking places for news, like Associated Press, Reuters, BBC. Like, those are the places people should be going for news.
Well, where is TikTok now? Who owns it? Who's going to own it? What can they do?
Still in limbo. We're not 100% sure. I think is it 90 days, guys, or 120? It got a little bit of a reprieve.
I think it was a 90-day extension. Was it not?
90-day was my first thought, but then I was like, is it 120? And I'm mixing that up. But it did get somewhat of a reprieve, and I think things are being done behind the scenes. We'll see how it plays out officially.
I think it feels like one of those where they maybe started with 90, and then once on day 89, it's going to be like, hey, we've also extended it for another 60 days now because there's a deal and it's close and there's talks and blah, blah, blah. And then that's going to turn into another 30 or 60 days.
It definitely doesn't. I don't really think it matters how many days they say it is, because it was banned for 15 minutes until they could restart the servers and get it back up. And so it's it's all just for show at this point.
It was all political theater. And
was it really?
Yeah, it was just nonsense. So we'll see how it plays out and who does become the new owner. The rumors are Larry Ellison from Oracle, because it's already on the Oracle platform here in the U.S. So we'll see what happens.
I just, the thing, I've talked about this before, I'm sure, and I don't know, maybe not extensively. I mean, I don't have anything against either Joe Biden or Donald Trump. They're not my kind of people. But I just don't understand the hatred of people for both of them. And maybe they should, I don't know, I just wouldn't take time. I wouldn't take time in my day to hate someone. I do know Donald Trump because I met him. He came on my show on the Q back when Art of the Deal came out. That's how I met him. I never met Biden. But people just either hate Trump or they hate Biden, or you don't even know them. Whatever, right?
That's why we're going to talk entertainment.
I like it. Let's get right to entertainment. You know how entertaining it is to tell people how much I hate you? I do it all the time.
All behind my back. My ears are burning all day.
There you go. Yes, it's hit me this morning because I did discover that whole plane crash and all the rest of it. And everything else on social media was, I hate you. It's, not me, but other people. It's like, God, when you grow up.
Well, let's talk about how much we hate Hollywood and all the things that are coming down.
No, let's talk about the fact you want to hate somebody, do it to their face. How about that?
All right, let's do it. So, okay. Tom, I hate you, but now we're going to talk about what's happening in Hollywood.
It's only been 14 years of that, so 13 years. So I'm used to it by now.
Tonight is Fire Aid. Just I know we've talked about it in the past, but it is tonight. It's happening in 2 locations because originally it was only supposed to be at the Intuit Dome here in Los Angeles. It's going to the Kia Forum in Orange County. You will be able to find it absolutely everywhere. If you want to listen to it live on the radio, if you want to go to the movie theater, to AMC, you can buy a ticket and watch it on the big screen. If you want to go and watch it on streaming, like Paramount Plus will have it, Peacock will have it, Netflix will have it, Disney Plus will have it. So, they're hoping to generate a lot of funds to help rebuild Los Angeles, and a huge slate of talent So if you're looking for a good music night, and this was a good week to do it too, because obviously the Grammys are on Sunday. So a lot of people are already in town. But Kia Forum has a No Doubt reunion, which I love. Dave Matthews Band, Alanis Morissette, John Mayer, Red Hot Chili Peppers, Pink will be performing. And then at the Intuit Dome, you've got Lady Gaga, Billie Eilish, Olivia Rodrigo, Rod Stewart, Stevie Wonder, Sting, Tate McRae, and Earth, Wind, and Fire, of course, as Tevin noted. The most inappropriate name after the wildfires.
Yeah, Earth, Wind, and Fire is a little tough.
They're only Earth tonight. That's what we're going to say. We're going to try and save the Earth.
No wind and fire.
No wind and fire, please.
Okay. I understand. No, I've got no problem with that. It works for me.
But hopefully they'll raise a lot of money, and I think it'll be a fun concert.
Do you think? Because I just interviewed a couple of people about a couple of different movies that are coming out, or one's already out, and the other one comes out tomorrow. We've talked about this before, but I do think movies have probably gotten. I mean, you're right. There are some phenomenal movies made over the years. I mean, Gone with the Wind was made. I've never seen Gone with the Wind because I won't take 3.5 hours to watch it.
But it has a built-in intermission, I believe. So if it's ever shown on the big screen, that's one to go to because then you'll have the break in between.
Just go on out to the lobby, go on out to the lobby, go on out to the lobby and get some 7-Up. Hey. That was a real commercial.
Get yourself a snack. Is how I know
get yourself a snack, yeah.
Yeah.
No, 7-Up where I was, they plugged 7-Up for some reason. I don't know.
I love it. It's smart. Jingles I wish they still had jingles because we don't have them enough.
No, it's true. But I make that point because watching movies is still one of my favorite things to do. To sit down and watch a movie is or a TV
we have to
show,
get you back to the theater at some point.
Indeed.
Yes.
I love going to the theater.
And speaking of people who are movie theater disruptors, Netflix had their big preview and they've got a huge slate for 2025. And I just wanted to mention one because I know that he's a big fan. Squid Games season 3 is coming this year.
Oh, Tevin, here we go.
I'm torn.
Are you torn? Because it's June 27th.
So bad.
This will be the final season, though. It'll wrap up the trilogy.
Season 2 is not great.
Was a trilogy needed for this, though?
They should have. Season 2, they just didn't do anything.
One and done would have been fine, don't you think?
Yeah,
with season
one and done should have been fine, or because essentially they were all right, you thought season 2 was going to be we're going to go capture, go fight the power, the man, whoever's running this game, and then he just kind of went back into the game and started playing all the games again, and you're we've already seen all this.
We already know what happens here. Yeah,
I feel like going to a different demographic because the current one takes place in, is it Japan?
I thought it was Korea.
Thank you, Korea. I would love to see a Swedish one. It's whole new characters.
I heard the US is doing one. Is that true?
Really? Oh, that's going to be great.
Maybe that's fake news, but I heard that the US
I know Mr. Beast does it.
Yeah,
for some reason.
Yeah, Mr. Beast did it on Amazon Prime. Yeah.
Jimmy.
Essentially, it's curious to see, but they did tremendously well with season 2, even though it wasn't as interesting, I would say, or well written as season 1. But it is the 3rd most successful series in Netflix history. Damn. So that just shows you that at least the brand name, the franchise, is very valuable to Netflix. It's done very well for them. And Cobra Kai will finally be wrapping up season 6, part 3. Beginning February 13th. That's coming our way. But they've got a whole slate. You can go through it all. And they are still the big guns out there in Hollywood leading the way when it comes to content.
What's amazing to me is I really loved that show when it started. Now it's this again.
It was so fresh the first 3 or 4 seasons.
Yes.
And after they wrap up season 6, they are continuing the universe on in the movie theater. So they're going back to Karate Kid, but it will be all within the universe. So we might see some crossover characters from Cobra Kai moving into the Karate Kid on the big screen as they reboot that franchise. So
I got to run this by Tevin because I've asked other people, but you're a big guy. Do you ever watch Cobra Kai?
I feel like I watched half of the first episode, but I never got super into it.
I knew it. You know why you didn't?
Why?
because you're big enough to look at it and go, those kids couldn't do that. To me, this is a waste of time.
Oh, I am not a fighter, so they could.
I'm not saying you are.
Yeah,
but you know what I'm saying.
You could just like flick someone.
There are some liberties that get taken a lot of times in karate type movies, because I think, as karate, I think more focuses on like the art of like executing the moves, and not necessarily like, it's not like UFC where you're like, I'm just gonna beat this guy's face in until he's unconscious.
It all works out in the end, no question about it. I should mention here, by the way, that people probably don't know this, but when starting on next Monday, after an opening few minutes, every part of my day will be kicked off by Kristen Burt now. Is that a good idea? I like ending my day with Kristen Burt, but beginning it, is that a good idea?
We'll find out very soon. It's a good or bad idea.
It'll be no, it's good. That part's going to be tough though, because there are several people that I'm working with on this show that I won't be able to work with because they have other things to do at that time of the day and all the rest of it. But you do what you got to do and moving on. So I guess I got lucky because you didn't stiff arm me, so that was good.
Yes, my segment will be 10:45 Central Time.
10:45 Central. There you go. Yeah. That's exactly it. So it should go very well, I would think.
I hope so. I don't know.
What if you come on and destroy the entire idea?
I haven't done that yet. I mean, I've had 13 years to do so. I don't know if I'll wake up on Monday morning and be like, today's the day.
Today is the day, ladies and gentlemen. I got to ask all three of you. Do you guys, because of television, the way it's formatted now with the Netflix and Prime and Hulu and, all these different channels and all the rest of it, do you guys ever go back and watch series you never watched before from the beginning? Just, because there are some of these series that went, I wish I'd have watched that. And back in the day, you couldn't go back and watch it. It just didn't happen. Mm-hmm. Now that you could do that, are you guys watching things on TV that you never thought you'd get a chance to watch?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. One of the series for me, a guy I used to work with told me about the show Sherlock, which was like exclusively a British thing. Mm-hmm. Benedict Cumberbatch is Sherlock Holmes, whatever. So it is one of my favorite series ever. I had never heard about it, and it was available on Netflix for a while. I watched that through, and it's nice. And Tom, I think you might like this because you talk about whatever show you watch has it's like 1 million episodes, and they're all like an hour and a half long. This is the same thing, except not as many episodes, but they're all like 90-minute episodes. So they're like mini movies in a sense. You get like a full 3-part act. It's great television. I would highly recommend it. I don't know where it's streaming right now though.
And the reason I asked you that, I'm glad you brought that all up, because the reason I asked that is I said, Catherine, we got to start watching Criminal Minds from episode 1. Well, let's do that. Yeah. Then I found out there are over 350 episodes.
That's good to keep you busy, Tom. This is good.
It is. Yeah, that's true.
And, it's interesting that you say this because they just released the top legacy titles of 2024, meaning old TV shows that people are going back to watch.
Yeah. Yep.
The number one show for 2024 was Little House on the Prairie.
Really?
Yes. It did extremely well on Peacock. So much so that it is being rebooted on Netflix.
Oh. Was that Michael Landon? Or is
Michael Landon.
It was, yeah, I thought so.
Gilbert. What's her name? Melissa Gilbert. Melissa
Gilbert. There you go.
Yeah, Melissa Gilbert. And I'm going to bet that Melissa Gilbert comes back to the reboot. I feel like that will happen. That's just my guess. There's been no announcement on cast or anything else like that. But the second most watched legacy title of 2024 was Gunsmoke. And that was on Paramount Plus, and they believe that is because of all of the Yellowstone success. People are going back and watching other classic Westerns.
Well, that does make total sense. I would love to go back because I never did watch, was it Little House on the Prairie you were talking about? That was
Half Pint. In my era, like a lot of girls read the Laura Ingalls Wilder series of books, Little House on the Prairie. And it's what brought us Jason Bateman. I don't know if people realize that. He was on Little House on the Prairie as a kid. Also, Shannon Doherty from 90210, who recently passed at the end of 2024. She also got her start on Little House on the Prairie. Melissa Gilbert. There are a lot of like child actors that you saw kind of get their start in the 80s on that particular show.
Now, the three of you, and Kristen, you probably already know who this is, but Michael Landon, who's unfortunately no longer with us, and he died young, didn't he? He died in his mid-50s or something?
I believe so.
Yeah,
He died of cancer, if I recall.
Yeah.
Died in 91 at 54 years old.
54?
Ooh.
Oh, God, I knew the year how old he was. I didn't know I knew that. Who did he used to get drunk with 3 times a week? They talked about it on television one time. Michael Landon and a very, very famous person used to go out and get hammered 2-3 times a week all the time back in the day.
Give us a multiple choice answer.
No, because you'll know who it is then. Okay, well, I can do it. Okay. Was it Joey Bishop? That's a good one. Ed McMahon, Steve Allen, or Johnny Carson?
I'm going to guess Johnny Carson. I know you're a massive Johnny Carson fan.
I'd go with Johnny as well.
You're all right. It was Johnny Carson. I knew you'd get it. I guess those two used to go out and get hammered, go out and spend a fortune on dinner, start drinking at dinner, and then after dinner go out and just get hammered.
And pick up the ladies, because neither of them were very faithful in any of their marriages.
There was that part of it that we could mention
Because
too.
Michael Landon, it's so funny. He's one of those actors who had such a like pristine reputation because he was playing Pa Ingalls on Little House on the Prairie, which, you know, underneath it too kind of had a message of faith. You know, it was a wholesome show, family show. You know, he's playing Pa and he's got his little half pint and his little family.
Right.
You know, and there he is boozing it up, you know, at the Polo Lounge after he gets off set every day.
That's what they were saying. I guess it was all the time. Is there one person out there, man or woman, that was known as just a raging boozon, like drank every day? Because some people said that about Ed McMahon, that he would get hammered every day. But I don't know.
And then go host Star Search.
Yeah, there you go. Hey, get to watch this show.
Blah, blah. I mean, I think that the era, I mean, my mom even talks about it. She, you know, she was a secretary before I was born. And she's like, as secretary, she's like, we would go out and have that 3 martini lunch. Like everybody left the office at lunchtime and you would just booze it up. Like it was just super normal. That Mad Men era of, you know, when you watch that, you're like, how do people just like go and have like 3 martinis and like come on back and work? I mean, I would be under the table taking a nap for the rest of the day.
You know, you just put me in a really good mood because I didn't even think about this. I haven't thought about this in years. But back in the day when Ed McMahon used to come on the Q morning show, every time I introduced him, he'd come on and go, "Here's Tommy." He would do that every time.
That's great.
It's a wonderful memory. It really is. I'm a very, you know, I know we only got a couple of minutes to go, but I sit every night and think about how lucky I have been in my career, all the people that I've met and had on the show and went out and had dinner with them. I mean, what a lucky person I am. No question. I met some pricks too, don't get me wrong, but not many. Comparatively, people were very, very nice.
Yeah, and I think too, PR-wise, things were easier before social media. We've talked a lot about social media in the past couple of weeks.
Yep.
And the celebrities were able to control their image, which was great because they were able to come on, even if they were the worst person ever, do their 15-minute segment, and they did their interview, they're funny, blah, blah, blah. And then they could be a monster behind the scenes because a lot of times people weren't going to report on it. They weren't going to jump on TikTok and be like, I just met Tevin. Let me tell you the story. And have the receipts, you know, and then they pull up all the screenshots of like him sliding into my DMs or something. He's not really, guys, so don't do that. I'm just hypothetically pretending that Tevin is like a superstar from 1976.
Well, no question about it.
Oh, I would have been huge in 1976. Yes.
Yeah, no question about it. Well, I just did realize that tomorrow, Kristen Burt will be the last person on the show. And then on Monday, she'll be the first person on the new show. So it's all about KB2.
I'm the buttons.
You are the buttons. That's exactly
the button at the
right.
end, the button at the beginning. I know.
I'm looking forward to it. It's all going to be on the same place. You can find the show on the same place you find it now. So nothing going on there or the rest of it. But we got one more minute. Any closing words?
Yes, if anyone's looking for just like an easy breezy, this is probably for all the ladies out there who are listening today. Rom-com, you've got You're Cordially Invited with Will Ferrell and Reese Witherspoon, about two people who have booked weddings at an inn and they've been double booked. And of course, all shenanigans ensue and things like that. But it's probably going to be pretty poorly written, but it'll be enjoyable fluff. January has been a very rough month for a lot of people. So if you're looking for something to just take your mind off, easy breezy, 90 minutes, Amazon Prime, You're Cordially Invited with Will Ferrell and Reese Witherspoon.
I just saw him on TV the other day. Is he as nice a guy as he seems?
He is nice. Everything I know about him is he's a real family guy. He is always like the dad that's on the soccer field. I think he coached a lot of his kids' soccer teams over the years. I did extra work back when he was on Saturday Night Live too. And, he was always nice on set.
See, that's nice to hear because he comes across as a very pleasant guy. So I'm glad to hear it's real. I'm glad to hear it's real because some of the guys, when they seem really nice, are the biggest jerks of them all.
Yeah, and it's hard to imagine Buddy the Elf being a real a-hole.
I know. I'd be really sad if Buddy the Elf was like a monster.
Did you see when they brought Buddy the Elf, that big blow-up doll of Buddy the Elf, and brought it out? Will Ferrell was on some show. I don't know what it was. But Buddy does not look a lot like him. Looks like a kind of a weird version of him.
It was like some statue or something that they were like, oh, look, it's Will Ferrell, is Buddy the Elf. And he was like, that is horrifying.
I'd have to agree with him.
At least he agrees too. That's good.
All right. We will talk to you guys tomorrow.
See you tomorrow.
Thank you. Kristen Bird Entertainment News is brought to you by North American Banking Company. Go to nabanco.com to learn more. Member FDIC, equal housing lender. The two of you only have to put up with me for one more day. Think about that. In your life will return to normal and you'll be happy again. It'll be unbelievable.
And the same to you. You only have to put up with both of us for one more day. And then
maybe I just won't show up. All right, fellas, we'll talk to you tomorrow. Thank you.
Yeah, talk to you then.
Bye.